So I was reading on ESPN.com today and saw a piece from Ben Solak over on ESPN where he went through the ideal draft for every NFL team. We're now just about a week from draft day. And, of course, my eyes go directly to the New Orleans Saints. What do they say? What do we need to do? And the first line I disagree with in this piece. The second line I agree with, and I think there's a dichotomy between the two. The first line says the Saints simply must get their quarterback of the future. While I agree with that fully, yes, the Saints have to find a quarterback. Based on what's going on with Derek Carr, what we all think about him, and the directions, they do have to find it. I don't know if they have to find it in this draft. And the second part of his sentence is, if they stay at number 9 and select Shedeur Sanders, I'll call it a reach, but understand the urgency. I would call that a reach as well. Here's the point that I'm trying to make. And as we get closer and closer to draft time, I think it rings more true and more true and more true. I fully believe that the Saints are operating out of a position of power because of the patience that they need to have. If they have the proper amount of patience, you don't have to rush into anything. If you are Jerry Jones and you're up there in age and your quarterback is aging as well, you got to go. If you're the Bengals and you've got Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, you've signed them to long-term deals, you got to go. The Saints are not in that position. They're simply at a spot where they need to reset. The urgency is as low as it could be right now. You are at the very beginning of a rebuild. You know what one of the best ways to torpedo a rebuild is? Go take a quarterback that's not going to help you really early in the draft. I just watched the Chicago Bears from afar with all my Chicago Cubs news sources go rush up there to go get Mitchell Trubisky. And it torpedoed everybody. Coach lost his job. GM lost his job. Football ops lost his job. They made a bad pick early on when they really didn't have to, and everyone lost their jobs. You don't have to do anything rash at the quarterback spot. If you think it's the right thing to do, if you're convicted on the selection, sure. There are plenty of other needs you can address without torpedoing everybody by taking a quarterback you really don't believe in because you feel like you have to go take a quarterback. Now let's do this quick little project here where we go through the quarterbacks that have been taken very early in drafts over the last 5 or 6 years. It's a mixed bag, as you might imagine, but I think hammers home just how volatile an early quarterback can be. It's too early to make a call on Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Michael Penix, J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix in the first 12 picks of last year's draft. We all believe Jaden's a superstar, no reason not to. Book's still out on Caleb Williams. Book's out on Drake May, looked good at the end of the season. Book's out on Michael Penix. J.J. McCarthy hadn't taken a snap. Bo Nix was fine, but it's too early, so we'll kind of dismiss that with an understanding of what those guys are. But you back up, Bryce Young was the first pick in the draft. That doesn't look awesome. C.J. Stroud was the second pick in the draft. That looks pretty good. Anthony Richardson was the fourth pick in the draft. I don't feel awesome about that. Is there an upside? Sure. Do I feel awesome about it? No. Will Levis was an early pick. That hasn't worked. Go ahead and look at Kenny Pickett in the first round. Not even on the same team. Took him at 20. Desmond Ridder. Then you've got a draft that included Trevor Lawrence at the top. Pretty good. Then Zach Wilson, nope. Trey Lance, nope. Justin Fields, nope. Mac Jones, nope. That's not a very good hit rate. Then you've got a great 2020 draft. Burrow, Tua, Herbert, Love, Hurts. Phenomenal. And I'm not arguing that doesn't set you up brilliantly if you do hit on that guy. But that's the outlier. 2019, Kyler Murray, fine. Daniel Jones, bust. Dwayne Hatkins, never really got an opportunity. Go to 2018, Baker Mayfield, okay, he's moved all over the league. Sam Darnold, nope. Then you got Josh Allen at 7. Brilliant. You got Josh Rosen 3 picks later. The hit rate on these is terrible. Now, you have to try to take a chance at some point. I fully endorse the New Orleans Saints at some point taking a really high pick on a quarterback. I don't know if this is the one. Now, it's such an inexact science. There are so many people that get it wrong, both on ESPN and on Fox and in front offices. Drafting a quarterback is such a crapshoot. And it's better to roll the dice than to just sit in the back. If you sit in the back, you never win. But you do have to play it in a calculated manner. And the point that I'm making with the Saints is that they don't have to push all their chips in if we're using the craps analogy. You've got a lot of chips, meaning time. You have a lot of time. You don't need a quarterback to take all your snaps this year and go. If you get him, awesome. But you don't have to rush forward and do it. If you think Shedeur Sanders is the 43rd best player in this draft, I'm just making that up, but just hypothetically work with me. If you think he's the 43rd best player in this draft, don't take him at 9. Take the guy you have 6th on your board that either plays offensive line, rushes the passer, like whoever it is. This is all hypothetical. We'll work on the actual picks as we move forward. But the Saints need players. They need cheap, young players. They don't need a high-risk selection right at the top. So while I agree with the notion that Ben Solak makes to start his piece, the Saints need their franchise quarterback, there's no law that says you got to do it at 9. You can do it at 40. You can do it in the 3rd round. That's where I'd like to try to take a real low-risk swing. At the top, no. And certainly I'm not talking about trading up and mortgaging picks at this point. There will be quarterbacks in the next draft. And guess what? I've got some news that the Saints should probably be really willing to accept. They're probably going to pick pretty early in the next draft. Probably going to pick really early in the next draft. And there's another position of strength. And hopefully, when you pick early in that next draft, you've got 4 starters from this draft, including the 9th overall pick, that give you a stronger foundation to start pushing off the dock with said new quarterback. Now, there are some things I can't know. I can't know how patient the executives have promised to be with Kellen Moore. I can guess because they've been super patient with everybody over there. How patient are we being with Mickey Loomis right now? We were trying to be even more patient with Dennis Allen when we knew that wasn't going to work. The patience is in abundance over there on Airline. So my guess is they're going to be pretty patient with Kellen Moore. They should be, based on the situation they've put him in. So if you have that promise of patience and you understand fully where the organization is, I think that lessens your eagerness, anxiousness to go up and make a pick at quarterback. Now, on the flip side of this argument, because I always like to look at both sides, if you think Shedeur Sanders is the 3rd best player in this draft, fine, take him. Take him. This is about your trusting your people, your evaluations, and sticking to that. Now, I hear Saints fans. I hear you yelling at me. They suck at this. They draft terrible players all the time. Look at the bust they've had in the first round. Relative athletic scores and all this garbage and Davenport. Like, I got it. But all I can do is trust the people that are there. If you don't, then the whole thing needs to be blown up anyway, and then we're 3 years from having a reasonable discussion. These are the people in charge. So you've got to allow them to do it because they're the ones there. So if you have Shedeur Sanders at 40 and you take him at 9 because, hey, we got to have a quarterback, incorrect. If you have him as the 8th best player on your board and you pick at 9 and he's there, okay. I'd push back against the notion the Saints must draft the franchise quarterback in this draft. I'm not against them drafting a quarterback in the middle of the draft. I'm against them rushing to the podium to draft a quarterback who then could be way too high risk and really stunt the entire organization's potential rebirth here. High-end quarterbacks are a risky proposition. If you have a bunch of players that are available at 9 that don't play that position, I'm way in with that. Hey, it's Hunt. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.